Hi, welcome to our third Can I Recycle This with Dakota County. My name is Jenny Ketter. I'm an environmental initiatives team member at Dakota County, and today we're going to focus all about plastics, mainly plastic bags, and it's July, so we have to talk about plastic-free July. So first we'll talk about plastic bags. I get a lot of questions on plastic bags. So I want to talk about why it's so important to recycle plastic bags the right way. And I had a picture, I guess I don't now, of what happens to plastic bags at a recycling center. So if you threw your plastic bags in the recycling at home or at work, what would happen is they go to a recycling facility where all of our recycling gets sorted out by people and magnets and machines, and what happens is these lovely flimsy bags just start wrapping around all of those machines. And that's not great because the machines help us sort everything. So they have to stop at the recycling facility. They have to stop for 2 hours every day, and workers have to risk their lives to go in there and cut out the plastic bags, physically cut out. So don't do it. And once they even cut them out, they don't get recycled. So this is just all trash. So to properly recycle your plastic bags, you want to take them somewhere to be recycled. And before I forget, plastic bag recycling also means don't put all of your recycling, like everything in this bag is beautiful recyclables, but when it goes to a recycling facility, they don't know what's in here. So they have about a millisecond to decide if they can empty this onto the conveyor belt by ripping it open, or what normally happens is they just grab it and throw it away. There's no time for them to empty your bag. And if it's colored, like this is a kind of clear bag, if it's a colored like black plastic bag, they don't know what's in it. It could be full of dog poop or syringes, which sometimes they are, and they don't want to risk anyone's health or safety, so they just toss it. So to get all of your stuff recycled properly at home, don't use a plastic bag. Empty into your recycling cart. Okay, so what do you do with all these bags then? You take them to a bunch of different places around the Twin Cities, and to find a whole listing of where to take them, you can go on to dakotacounty.us and search our green guide. But a general rule is any grocery store, Cub Foods, Targets take them. Kohl's, JCPenney, Best Buy, Home Depot, they all take these plastic bags. And what they do is they have kind of a kiosk similar to this, but it's a drop box near their customer service. And you put all your bags in there, usually a bag of bags because you've accumulated for a little bit. You put all your bags in there, then they actually use a contractor, a vendor, to take the bags and manufacture them into usually lumber. So Trucks Lumber is a great example and is local, or one of the local businesses that takes plastic bags. Also, By the Yard, you hear a lot of By the Yard commercials in near the state fair time, because they're always at the state fair. By the Yard near Jordan loves milk jugs the most. But similarly to their plastic furniture and decking, Trex makes their decking out of plastic bags. It's pretty amazing that this can turn into this, low maintenance decking. So what kind of plastic bags can you take then? It's not just your retail bags like this. It is, there's actually a whole list that I'm going to be looking at, and you might not be able to see the details, but this list is available on our website, on dakotacounty.us, but also on plasticfilmrecycling.org. That has the whole list of locations as well and what you can take. That's where I got this lovely poster too. So what can you take? You can take produce bags like you get for your potatoes or whatever. You can bring that. Obviously these plastic bags. Surprising to most people, shipping bags like this, as long as it doesn't have paper on it. So you might have like your shipping label right here. Try your hardest to take that off. Sometimes they're just so stuck on there. Try to take it off if you can. It's not a huge deal, but they really want the plastic clean and dry. We also can take bread bags. Just make sure you empty them out, no crumbs. Dry cleaning bags, because you always get your dry cleaning in plastic bags. Also, dry cleaners usually take back those plastic bags as well. So dry cleaning bags can be at a drop-off. Then what we call wrap, material wrap, which might be just our industry jargon, but for you it means anything that was wrapped, like your toilet paper, your plastic water bottles, your all of those items that have this like wrap, that shrink wrap that you have to cut away. That is great and wonderful, and we want you to take it to include with your other plastic bags. What else? Ooh, another, oh, I think I forgot it actually, but air pockets. So now we don't have as much bubble wrap for shipping. You see more of those air pockets. They're a little cheaper to make, but you can bring all of your air pockets to the plastic bag drop-off as well. I would suggest poking holes in them if you have children or husbands. This is a great idea to keep them busy. Just kidding. So poke holes in all of your air pockets, and just for decrease in your volume. Newspaper bags, so especially when it's raining all the time, your newspaper might show up with that plastic bag. You can put that in your plastic bag recycling as well. Then clean zip top bags, like Ziploc bags. You used to have to cut off this zipper part, but now you don't have to. The manufacturers say that's not necessary. So you can just leave this whole and put it in the bag of bags as well. Just make sure it's clean, no dirty bags. To make this lumber or anything else out of plastic bags, all these bags have to be really clean and dry. So if you can't get it clean, if it's just really gross and you don't want to deal with it, throw it away. Then bubble wrap, just like air pockets, bubble wrap can definitely go in for your plastic bag recycling as well. So what about the nose? I hear this a lot too. Oh, one last thing. We've been seeing more and more of these. If you're an Amazon shopper, I'm sure you've gotten one of these. These are Amazon Prime shipping envelopes, plastic on the outside and bubble wrap on the inside, perfectly recyclable at a drop-off. And what you might notice is at the bottom, there is this new symbol that we've been seeing more and more, and it tells you what the product is and what to do with it. And it does say, remove paper label before recycling, store drop-off. Now, of course, if you've tried to remove one of these paper labels, it's a little difficult, so do your best. But you can drop it off with your plastic bags. So no frozen food bags. I don't understand why, but they don't want them. So no frozen food bags. Any frozen vegetables or fruit, that goes in the trash. What we call liners, this is from crackers or chips. All of this, it actually has some metal in it as well. They don't want this, so no. None of the kind of deli wrapping, it's kind of like a bag, but they don't want these. It's hard to clean, and for some reason, whatever material it is, they don't want it. So none of those are the big questions. Other questions I usually get, fertilizer or salt bags, especially right now, fertilizer bags. They don't want those, and I think it's more of it's hard to get them really clean. So the bag, if it was never filled with anything, could be recycled with your recycling or your bags, but because it had fertilizer or other stuff in it, they don't want it. Also, six-pack rings. I just got that question recently. Can you recycle six-pack rings? So no, that will go in the trash. So not with your plastic bag recycling or your regular recycling. Okay, so I think that's our yes, no's of plastic film recycling. That's our jargon, plastic film and wrap. And please submit your questions as we go too. I think we do have a question. We'll get, okay. What about plastic netting that fruit comes in? Yes, like cuties, we went through the big cutie season and it had that plastic netting. Note that is not accepted in your home recycling or plastic film recycling. I've actually seen recently people reuse them as your a produce bag. Like if you cut it in a certain way, you can make a little produce bag out of it. So when you go to the store, you can put your pears or apples in there as well. But nope, that would be trash if you can't reuse it. Keep asking your questions too, even though I'm gonna start talking about Plastic-Free July. Please continue to ask about plastic bags. It's a major issue. We want all your bags out of your home recycling. Okay, salt bags are okay, right? Actually, someone just asked that recently too, and I had to look up if salt bags were okay, and they're not listed on plasticfilmrecycling.org, and that's my go-to source of what's accepted. There were programs several years ago, a state-run program that was taking them, but right now I don't believe they want them in our plastic film recycling. That might change. This is a generic list for the whole country. So maybe, if they made a Minnesota specific list and we use a lot of salt bags here, maybe they would add it. But right now, no salt bags are listed on the yes or no. So I would leave them out. When in doubt, throw it out, for sure. Okay, so now we're gonna go to one of my favorite times of year. It is Plastic-Free July, which sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? Plastic-Free July was actually started in Australia because they are seeing some of the major effects of plastic ocean pollution because they're surrounded by oceans. And they see a lot of immediate effects to their wildlife, coral reefs, their beaches. It's affecting not only their land and water, but it's affecting their tourism. You don't want to arrive in Australia to beaches full of plastics, I'm sure. So they started this plastic-free challenge, which I love, and it's now grown international. I wanted to talk about it. It's my 3rd year doing it, so I'm still a novice too, but I challenge you to have a plastic-free July. And what does that mean? Well, you would go to their website, Plastic-Free July, and you would take their pledge, and you can actually mark down, I'm only gonna do this for a day, a week, 2 weeks, or a month. So you can, if it's a month is too much for you, you can narrow that down, and really a day. What this all, the goal of the whole point, or the point of the whole program is to become more mindful. You start realizing that your automatic habits go towards disposable, and maybe you can stop that. So little by little, you might reduce your plastic consumption. And we had a question, what does single-use plastics mean? Because the whole point of the plastic-free challenge is reducing your single-use plastics. And I say that because some plastics, like even my example of a reusable container, well, this is plastic, right? How can I avoid this? Or your toothbrush might be plastic, or your cell phone has plastic all over it. Even the phone that we're using to record this has plastic. So it's not necessarily avoiding all plastic for the whole month of July, it's avoiding single-use plastics. Items that were made to be used for 5 seconds and then it's trash. And a lot of that, it ends up in our oceans. And even if it's in our landfill, it is now there forever. In fact, every piece of plastic that has ever been created on this planet is still here. Every single piece of plastic. It could have been made into something else like decking, but then this decking is here as well. So just think about that every time you use a piece of plastic. So what can you do? Plastic-Free July has great resources for you. My tips for you is to, if that's overwhelming to even try to avoid all single use, you could even just collect what your single-use items are for the month. So last year I did this where I wanted to just do a little check on myself, because you don't realize how much you create until you kind of keep it over several weeks. So I kept all the things that I couldn't avoid for a month. And what I saw were, wow, it was really hard to avoid meat packaging, because I do eat meat, and cheese. Those are really hard to avoid. Because even if you can get cheese in bulk or meat in bulk, that paper that's wrapped around a piece of meat is lined with plastic. So just being aware of that makes you shop a little differently. Here are some kind of like starting areas. Of course we know, bring your own bottle. I was just traveling with my mom to Oregon this weekend, and so we flew in and out of an airport, which is like the mecca of disposable, right? Like everything is disposable at an airport, but you don't let travel stop you from avoiding plastics. It can be done. I didn't use a lot of plastics when I traveled. I had my water bottle. You can bring a empty water bottle on the plane or into the airport with you and then fill it up. Every airport I've been to now has water refill stations. And then you feel a little like smug, like you paid $2 for your water. That was free. So definitely bring this guy, especially summer. It is very hot right now. And my trusty red mug. This, if you actually want to follow my mug, it's #TrustyRedMug. I bring this guy everywhere. It has lasted for a really long time. And it's It's great because it doesn't spill, and it insulates. So I have an iced Americano in here right now. I will still have ice by the end of the day. I love it. So you can bring this anywhere you go. It's not that heavy, it's not that cumbersome, and you feel pretty cool carrying it around. Okay, what else? So another thing that I see a lot of people using, plastic bags, right? We talked about this, of all of our plastic bag recycling. Well, you can skip all of it and just reuse reusable bags. Now, of course, the biggest thing that I hear is, I forgot my bags. So one trick I have for you, and you'll feel pretty sly doing it, or maybe slightly embarrassed. I feel pretty cool, but I'm a special person, right? Where I get a kick out of this kind of thing. But, okay, say you walk into Cub Foods and you're like, oh, I forgot my canvas bag at home. Oh, Jenny's gonna make me feel so guilty about that. So what you can do actually is go to that same drop-off for plastic bags and go get a plastic bag and use it. Brilliant, right? I've never had a dirty bag from there. I've done that many times when I've forgotten my own bags. And you can reuse a plastic bag, that's totally fine. So try that. Canvas bag, so your go-to if you do nothing else. Water bottle, mug, if you're a coffee drinker, and canvas bag. Now if you want to go even further, let me tell you, any to-go containers. So one big thing for Plastic Free July is to-go containers. Last year, one of my major goals was to remember to bring my own to-go container when I went out to eat. I still mess up because sometimes it's spontaneous, but I'm trying and I'm getting in a better habit, especially at work when we go out to lunch. I'll actually bring a few bowls for everyone else and make them use them. Bringing your own, this is a small one, but bringing your own to-go container, you can bring your own to-go container to any restaurant, even say Panera. And if it's a fast food restaurant, you just ask them to serve it for here. Like Panera, you would say, I want it for here, even though you know you're gonna go. They serve it and you can put it in your own container. As long as you're putting the food in the container, you can use your own container. So that's a big one, and it takes more effort to remember, but you feel pretty awesome when you do. Other things, produce bags. So I have 6 of these, and I really only need 2, but they come in a kit. These are produce bags. They have a drawstring, and you can put any of your produce in here. One thing, you don't need to use produce bags for really anything in the produce section. I see people putting their one apple in a produce bag, and you're gonna wash your apple anyways. I wouldn't even bother with the bag. The only thing I use produce bags for are maybe little potatoes, mushrooms. I just did that yesterday because they're little. So produce bags. Also with produce bags is they're so light. I take them to the bulk area of the grocery store, like at Cub Foods. And if you want nuts, cashews, whatever, trail mix, you can use this instead of the plastic bags that they give you. And then just write down the number. So use that. A few more examples. Do we have any questions coming out? Okay, we'll wait. Beeswax wrap. You might have seen this. It's pretty popular right now. So this is fabric, and they put just beeswax on it, melt it. And what happens is, let's say I actually have one of these that doesn't have a lid. I don't know where the lid went. So you mold the wrapping around here, and it just stays. So I use this for cheese, for half an onion that I just need the cut open part of the onion to be sealed. I love beeswax. And then you just wash it and reuse. It's great. And you can make your own too. If you don't want to purchase them, it's pretty easy to make your own for cheap. Then you can also, this is what I actually took with us on our trip. I had my grapes and my trail mix in reusable pouches. You can get ones that are zippered like this, or Velcroed like this, like a sandwich bag. I love them. Okay, so those are pretty easy ones. Here's a little hardcore if you want to go that extra mile. I bought these at the new Tare Market in South Minneapolis. That's T-A-R-E, Tare Market. And they're the first in the state zero waste shop. And their whole goal is to encourage you, inspire you to not have waste in your life. And so here's a toothbrush made out of bamboo. So when I'm done with this toothbrush, I can compost it. There's no plastic at all with it. Also, here's pretty hardcore too. Here is a razor. This is the last razor I will ever buy in my life because it is durable, stainless steel, We use the old safety razors like our grandparents used to use. You unscrew this, put new razors in, and keep using those. But this will be the last thing I ever buy. So yes. Okay, so those are my tips. We have a few questions. Where can we find beeswax covers? I've seen them at more of the co-ops. The closest one would be Burnsville, the Valley Natural Foods Co-op. You can order them online. You can get them at Tare Market in South Minneapolis. And again, you can make your own with any cotton fabric, and then you can go to Michael's or Joann and buy a little tub of beeswax, like you're making candles. And what you do is you just put your fabric on a baking sheet with rim. Don't do a no rimmed baking sheet, and pour your melted beeswax on it, and you'll make your own, which is pretty cool. Okay, we have another question. Is there a list of yes, no that can be shared? I'm assuming you mean for the plastic-free, plastic bag recycling, and yes, we can share that in this event for sure. You can go to plasticfilmrecycling.org. We also have that same list, just not as many pictures, on our green guide, which is at dakotacounty.us. But we can share those resources in the event as well, for sure. Good questions. I think we had a question earlier too. Actually, a staff member said, well, what do you mean single-use plastics? Does that mean all plastics, disposable? You can make it whatever you want. So your challenge is to just be mindful about your plastic use in July. So make it a challenge for your family of whatever you want. If that means, I have a friend, a coworker, who gets almost every day an iced drink on her way to work. So you have the plastic, the lid, the straw. She's taking the challenge, and one of her main things is not having one of these in the month of July. So that's her challenge. That's a focus. That's great. All right, another question? No, I think we're good. Okay, we'll give it one more second. I just encourage you, no plastic bags in your home recycling, and challenge yourself to reduce your plastic. And don't have an excuse of traveling, family in town. Be an example to other people. That's the only way we're going to change our behavior and other people. You can always ask questions even after the event, and we'll respond to you as well. I'm so happy to be in Lebanon Hills Visitor Center for our third Can I Recycle This Facebook Live event. Thank you all for listening.